Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Pompeani with you at 412-575-2600. That's the number to call here 7 nights a week on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Andrew Fillipponi's up at 93.7 The Fan. And there's a lot to get into. The Pirates are currently playing. We'll get to them in a second, but I wanted to begin.
First of all, I have to say here, didn't know I was doing the sports call with Roy Williams tonight. You went into your North Carolina powder blue, baby blue wardrobe here.
You heard
he would wear
Ray
those
say,
jackets on the sideline there.
We're just
like
a couple of days away from the start of summer.
Like
there are summer clothes. You got to wear the colors. Do you approve? Because this was Lisa's compilation. If you did not approve, she's watching and she won't like that.
Oh no, I absolutely do. You can pull it off. I'm not sure I would be able to do so, but for those, well, I guess everyone's watching tonight because the Fan is airing the Pirates losing to the A's currently.
Well,
Bob.
since you brought it up, we'll start there. I'm going to get into something else, but I'll get to that in a second. So Jared Jones throwing up there 101 miles an hour, got out of a jam, and the first base is loaded, no outs. He strikes out the side. Oakland has a really good hitting team, and they have some power on that team. Kurtz hit a home run. They got 3 runs in that inning. Jared Jones, again, pitch efficiency. We've talked about all the Pirate pitchers who have now gone through a whole bunch of pitches in the first 4 or 5 innings of games. In order to extend innings, you have to be more efficient, and I know he's coming back from this injury, and he hasn't pitched since just a few weeks ago. But, man, you got to get ahead of counts. You've got to make guys quick outs. You can't use 20 pitches every inning.
I'm thrown off by their whole philosophy as a pitching staff. Skeens seems to want to throw a lot softer and not as hard, and they must believe and he must believe that that's good for his current progress and ability to pitch well. And also, I would think his long-term prognosis as a pitcher. And then I watched Jared Jones start this game tonight, and fastball's at 101, and changeup is at 95 for a very small guy. And he's capped out at 5 innings. So he's allowed to throw that hard, Bob, but he's not allowed to pitch deep into games at all. So I don't get that. It seems like Jones is trying to throw every single pitch at 100% intensity, and yet the guy that is the face of the rotation, Skeens, they're having him back off and not throw as hard. So which one is it? Do you want your guys throwing as hard as they can, or do you not want your guys throwing as hard as they can? I'm perplexed by that.
I think Paul Skeens, the velocity is off a little bit. They haven't won in 6 of his starts, and his numbers aren't what you would expect. Still good enough to win some games, like I thought yesterday. But he's relying on a lot of different pitches, and he still had 10 strikeouts, so it's hard for me to be critical of what he did yesterday. I thought he should have come out for the 7th inning based on how he ended the 6th inning. And at some point, as we had this discussion today, when do you extend guys a little bit longer? You can't rely on this bullpen, Pony. You just can't. And if you go to them early in the 6th inning every single night or most nights, you're going to wear them out. They're not good enough to be that often used. So that's a problem, both ends of it.
Well, Skeens has not been able to get through 6 innings under 100 pitches in the last month. And they have a hard and fast rule, apparently. If you get over 100 by even a few pitches, you're done. And I don't know if that's all Pirates, how much of that is Skeens and his camp dictating innings or pitch limits to the Pirates. Who knows? We've got really zero clarification on that and how that whole thing works. I know that they continue to run the worst hitting catcher I've ever seen out there every 5th day Skeens pitches, and it's driving me nuts. Skeens didn't have him at the World Baseball Classic. He never gets him at the All-Star game, obviously, because Davis isn't anywhere close to being that good, and he won't have him likely when he goes to his next team. So why is he attached at the hip to Paul Skeens? I don't get that either, Bob. What happens when Joey Bart comes back? Andy Rodriguez goes down to AAA? That would be wrong. Andy Rodriguez is a much better player than Henry Davis right now.
And from what I saw of Rafael Flores, it looks like he has a legit bat too. And, you got to come up with some hits. You can't have what Henry Davis is doing at 131. You just can't have it. I don't care how good he is defensively. He's made strides there, but you can't do what he's done. When we come back, Pony, I want to get into Brendan Sorsby, the quarterback out of Texas Tech, who Pete Thymo is reporting is going to go to the supplemental draft. I think we all thought that was going to happen, how this investigation went. He's kind of betting on himself, and we'll find out if that's a good bet and who would take the bet. That's coming up as we continue. Call us at 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, 7 nights a week, right here on KDKA+. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night from our friend Josh Yohe of the Athletic. Centers on the 09 Penguins, who have won the Conn Smythe now, if you include Jordan Stahl, who was the oldest ever to do it, Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby twice. I thought that was the choice, and so I'm glad he got it. But a lot of other people didn't think that was the right choice. If you had to make another choice, who would it have been? I mean, there are those who believe that, Brandon Bussey came in. It was a big difference maker for them. And I thought that was a great move by Brind'Amour. He trusted that kid. He let him to go. Tortorella, on the other hand, let Carter Hart stay in there no matter what, and he had one of the worst save percentages of anyone in the Stanley Cup Finals in that position. Who else would you have given it to?
No hometown bias here because Stahl was a Penguin. I thought they made the absolute right choice based on how he performed in the Cup final.
All right. Are you concerned about the velocity of Paul Skeens? That is our KDKA.com/connect poll of the night, brought to you by Penn West University. So far, a lot of people say no, 53%. You can offer up yours if you go to KDKA.com. Before I get to the lines, Pony, I want to ask you about Brendan Sorsby. He had hundreds of thousands of bets on sports. And that became an issue down there at Texas Tech, so it's led to this where it looks like he's headed for the supplemental draft. Would you draft him if you had a chance?
If I'm the Steelers, I don't, because I've got 4 quarterbacks, and I've already got 2 young guys here, and I don't think I need the headache now. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't in the fold, I think it would be a different situation. If you had not drafted Drew Aller, it would be a different situation. But those things happened, so no, I don't think you go that direction. I think it's entirely possible that Roger Goodell, in a precedent-defining move, punishes Sorsby upon arrival to the NFL. But what makes me think a few things have happened here. If Sorsby's getting good advice, and these guys obviously work with agents now all the time because of NIL, he's got to think that a team is going to draft him early in the supplemental draft, and he's also got to believe that Goodell is going to look the other way here because, Bob, he was given the injunction, and Texas Tech was going to pay him between $6 and $7 million. Mm-hmm. So he must have it on pretty good authority that this is going to be the right decision for his career to come out now. And the only way I think it's the right decision is if he thinks the total money and opportunity he can get in the NFL supersedes what he had at Texas Tech this fall.
And you know how teams are desperate for quarterbacks, and he is a first-round capable guy, it appears at this point. So we'll see what happens, and somebody's going to take him. It's funny. Even though you describe the Steelers correctly as 4 quarterbacks, knowing that Rodgers is done next year, and they'll be looking for another quarterback. If you think this guy could be that guy, would you at least not be tempted?
Yeah, of course. I would be tempted for sure because I don't think that Drew Aller is the answer, and I wouldn't go with Will Howard and completely show complete faith in him because of where he was drafted and the fact that outside of a late run at Ohio State, he was always viewed as a good college quarterback, but not someone that had the tools to succeed in the NFL. So you have to do your due diligence. Bottom line here, every team that doesn't have a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen has to do that. Even those teams. Because, look at Mahomes last year got hurt late in the season. Mm-hmm. You never know. So I think every team is going to do unbelievable, copious amount of work on this guy. And he's going to get picked because he would not have made this decision today unless he was getting information from people inside the NFL that he's going to get picked.
All right, let's go to the phone lines, beginning with our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. That would be Matt in Butler. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, you just mentioned the pitching staff of the Pirates, and you can't make heads or tails of why they're doing one thing with one guy and another. Of course, the relievers are bad. The offense is getting worse because a couple guys are out injured, but everybody has guys out injured. Base running is a problem. Errors, defense is a problem. Does this team seem to be regressing to you? Because it seems like every facet of the game is getting worse. And if so, who do you blame that on?
Well, number one, the injuries do play a factor. I think the bullpen is strictly a product of what the Pirates decided to do in this offseason, which put all their money in offense. And you can understand why. They were terrible last year in that department. Their bullpen was actually pretty good. I think they believed that Santana would be what he was last year. He's disappointed them. It starts with him, Pony. Everything's gone backwards. Who I put the blame on at this point, I still would have to go to general manager. I know a lot of people are going to look at Don Kelly and say how he's using guys. He's moving different guys around different places. He's pulling guys too soon, or whatever the case may be. But you're only as good as the talent you have in your bullpen. And right now, that talent's not very good.
I agree with you on that, but what I would wonder about now is the decision that they made after a good pitching season with a ascending pitching staff and bullpen to make a pitching coach change. Okay, was that really necessary? And I get it, the coaches are only as good as the players they're given. I mean, look at Matt Haig compared to last year. I mean, the offensive numbers are so much better. I don't really think he has a ton to do with it, but when just about every guy has gotten worse, with probably the exception of Ashcraft, when everybody has gotten worse, I would question that. Why did you make that decision when, let's be honest, it's not like their rotation underachieved last year, Bob? Paul Skeens won the Cy Young Award.
Bullpen was better.
Ashcraft came on. The bullpen was good. So I just don't get that decision that got made by them. And I think fans are right to question the organization's decision-making as it pertains to who's going to lead up their pitching department.
TC is in Washington. Now he joins us right here on the Sports Call. Hey, TC, go right ahead.
Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
We're good, thanks.
Yeah, about Paul Skeens. What do you think the World Baseball Classic did to those guys at all, particularly the starting pitchers, that threw as hard as they did for, 2 weeks before even the season started? Had no spring training under the new pitching coach? What's going on with that?
It's a good question, TC. I don't know how you look at it, Pony, but that's not the normal progression that you see, especially early in a season, to come out with that. I have no idea if it means there's something going on with Paul Skeens. His velocity is down. Is that by design or just because? And if so, I can also, in my mind, think maybe there's something wrong with him at this point. Maybe they're going to have to back off, and they have 2 days off coming up in the next 6 days, so that'll help the entire rotation, I think.
A lot of guys that were involved in that, have not pitched well, whether that's Webb getting hurt in San Francisco, Skubal getting hurt with Detroit, Skeens not being the same guy this year. Aaron Nola for the Phillies has been awful. He was on Team Italy. The one guy that seems to have been rejuvenated by the World Baseball Classic is Eduardo Rodriguez, who helped Venezuela win the whole thing. And he's been awesome for Arizona. He's been an all-star caliber pitcher for them this year after he was not very good in 2025. So it seems anecdotally like most of the guys that were a part of that event had not done well, starting pitchers that had to adjust their routine to get ready for a season. And the Pirates have made it sound like they expected Skeens to not be as good this year for that very reason, which, again, if you know he's not going to be as good this year because of it, how do you let him pitch in the event as much as he did and how he did?
We got a lot of Twitter action here. Character Matters says there's not one Pirate pitcher that is not struggling right now. You have to question how they're being coached. And then Bruce on Twitter says DFA is what should be next for Ozuna. He was responding to something I put out because if he's going to sit there on the bench and just take a paycheck, you might as well DFA him. But if he's still going to be here, I think they owe it to him and them to get him in the lineup on a consistent basis for at least a week and see what he can do. He cannot, break out of this malaise sitting and getting one game a week, and that's pretty much what's been going on. So what do you do with
Bob,
him?
I agree 100% with you on that. Charrington said on a show, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, that he thinks the hot streak is still in there with Ozuna. Well, how does he get hot if he doesn't play? If he's only in there against lefties and you see 2 lefties in 1 week, that's not enough for a guy to get hot. He's not playing enough. And they're strictly going by numbers, lefty versus righty splits. And he's been so bad against right-handed pitching, they don't dare play him in those situations. So he has become a very, very expensive platoon player who plays less than a normal platoon because he's a right-handed hitter.
We're due for a break, Pony. We'll take it. Come back with John and Cranberry next right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Don't go away. Bob Pompeani, Andrew Fillipponi back with you at 412-575-2600. Let's go out to John and Cranberry, who joins us on the hotline. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Bob and Andrew. Thanks for taking my call. Two quick things. I want to congratulate the Hurricanes and Mr. Saul. What a run. It's hard-pressed to find a better third-line center.
Yeah, what happened there? Quick, I think he's tremendous at what he does. And, you know, it was funny, he first came up here. I remember as an 18-year-old, he played right off the bat, and people thought he was going to be a perennial 30-goal scorer. He had 29 in that first year, and that's just not his game. He is a great defensive guy. He's been really good in faceoffs. That's what he is, and that's what he's been largely in Carolina. He hasn't been more than a, 20-goal scorer on a consistent basis a couple times.
You know, Carolina really won the Stanley Cup without a star player, Bob.
They did.
They thought they had that in Mikko Rantanen, and then they traded him to Dallas right after they made the deal with Colorado and got Stankoven back, which ended up being, in the end, a blessing for them because he stabilized at center and played that position, second-line center, very well and brought out the best in his line mates there. So, you know, every time, copycat league, when the Penguins won with speed, teams tried to get fast. Maybe the system there with all the shots and possession and things like that will become even more of an emphasis in the NHL now.
Yeah, it's funny. They had nobody in the top 20 in points in the NHL, yet they still just, 4 lines, consistent effort. Jacob Slavin was terrific this entire playoff season, and we're out of time. Thanks very much, Pony, as always. We appreciate it. We'll see you again. Take care. That's business for us. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:35. Good night.